so this video should help you with iXL, and we're going to set up a class. We're going to show you how to separate your students into different classes. And we're going to look and see if we can find some data and how to look at data on here to help you learn more about your students. So I've already signed into my account, and up here next to my name I'm going to hit the down arrow, and I'm going to go to my roster. And I don't have anybody in here right now because I took everyone out, but I'm going to add my actual children in here just for learning purposes, and I'm okay with you seeing their data. And then we're going to add one more. All right, and you can see that it already has classes set up for them, but we're actually going to separate them into, we're just going to call them block 1, block 2, block 3, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So up here right next to roster, it talks about all students, and if I wanted to go to a certain group of students that are in here, I could do that, but I'm going to manage my classes, which it already has some classes in here for me from where I created. I'm going to get rid of those, and I'm going to add a class. I'm just going to call it block 1 and save it. I'm going to add and do block 2, save it, and then block 3 and save it. So we're done with that right there, okay? As you can see, they don't have classes there because I deleted those other ones. So all I have to do to add Easton to a class is to click on class, and he's going to be in my block 1. And I'm going to save that. Maggie's going to be in my block 2 and save it. And you can put, 25, 30 students, whatever you're blessed with in your class. And we're going to go from there. So that is how you put individual students into different classes so that you can separate your classes with different things. Like me, I always taught at least 2 different subjects each semester. So I wanted to separate my geometry and my algebra, or my algebra 2 and algebra, it didn't matter. I wanted to separate them into classes so I can see their data differently. So there's how you put students in a class. Now we're going to look at some data, and that is under our analytics. Now, none of them are working right now, but this is probably one of the coolest things that has been used, is when you're doing an assignment for students, you can see what they're actually working on in that moment. And it tells you their scores, it tells you, it puts it red if they answer 2 or 3 questions wrong in a row, and it just helps you a lot. So obviously we can't see that right now, but this live classroom is if you're in a classroom and you're wanting them to be working at a certain time, you can see who is working and who is not working. You can see who is struggling. You can see who's been paused for the last 10 minutes. There's a lot of ways this right here can help you out in a live setting. Okay, you do have a progress growth. You can click on a certain student. Like right here, it tells me how many questions Easton has answered, and I did not realize he answered that many. And he's done this many skills. So it's just basically an overview of what they have. You can actually go through and see what questions, and you can take a specific student. I'm going to take Easton again, and we're going to, I think he did first grade last year. Let's see here. Let's view questions. Okay. It actually gives me a good little chart here of what he did. It shows he didn't go down at all, so he answered his questions properly. 100 current SMART score. We have 28 questions answered, and it took him a whole 3 minutes to do it. Here is actually the questions that he has to answer. As you can tell, there's a lot of colorful questions. We need those for algebra and geometry and English classes. So, you can look at his questions. If he got one wrong, you can see what he selected and go from there. Okay. Now, scores is what I used a whole lot of, and there's 3 different options there, but I just click on the scores. And this right here helps me. I've got all students, um, and right here I've got grade 1, and it tells me all the different scores that he got on different iXL. So if you assigned all of the B's on iXL, and you can just easily click on here and see all the ones that a student has done in this. And you can say, hey, well, they still need to work on B.6 and B.7, and then they'll be done. So this is a good way of looking at a lot of information. Okay, let's go to grade 6 so we can, and obviously Easton has not worked on any grade 6. Maggie and Morgan have not worked on any grade 6 either. So don't know why that is. Maybe it's not used. Who knows? So that right there is a good thing to do with scores. Skills practiced. You can go through and see what they, if you're looking for a specific skill, we can go like we did before. We're going to see what his analysis is. And this right here is a good one if you are having a class live. You can see who has mastered it. And if you have more students in here, it'll say who is on level 5, and then it'll say who is on level 1 still, and then go from there. And it gives you this information up here. So if you had 25 students in your class, it would say, hopefully it would say 25 students have practiced. It would tell you total time spent for all those students and how many questions they have answered. Over here, it's going to tell you who's mastered and who has not. This 67% would be for Maggie and Morgan. And I can change that. I can change it just to block 1. And if I change it just to block 1, you can see that everybody, my one student, has practiced it if I want to do that. And I can reset that back to normal. But this is where I like to separate classes and see what they've done in each of those. And then you can look on individual students, what they've done. Like right here, it says in the last 30 days. Obviously, in the last 30 days, I hope nobody has worked on iXL, to be honest with you. But you can customize your date range. So let's go back and let's customize for when we got out for COVID. So I'm going to go March 13th. That was a good Friday the 13th, wasn't it? And we're going to go through May 9th and see what happens. And right here, it tells me from those dates that 520 questions were answered, 6 hours and 33 minutes of practicing, and 17 total skills. And right here, it even tells me all of that was done in April. Okay? I don't know. I should have turned off my notifications. All right. So it tells me Easton practiced all of these skills right here in that time. Tells me how much time he spent on each of these skills. Tells me what they are. I can actually click on them and go straight to them. There's a lot of really cool stuff about this. All right. And then there's some trouble spots. There's diagnostics. Then you got a dashboard here that kind of tells you everything that's been spent all the time, and go from there. All right. And I think that should be all you need to know about iXL. If you have more questions, you can always email me, echrist@henry.k12.va.us.